everyone. We're here with Ewen from And So I Watch You From Afar. They are a Northern Ireland, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, band signed to Pelagic Records. They're instrumental. It's fucking fantastic. So Ewen, I want to say thank you. I greatly appreciate you meeting with me early this morning. I know you guys had the last night of the North American run last night at the Masquerade.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Well, yeah, thank you so much for having us and for having me on the podcast today. The show last night, yeah, it was good. It was really, it was kind of like classic last night of tour, like very uh, bittersweet, you know? You're kind of looking around you at the bands you've been on tour with and the crew members you've been on tour with. And, it's always exciting doing shows and like it was a good gig. So it was obviously great in that sense. But it just is like it's got that little sadness about it because you're saying goodbye to all these new friends you've made. But yeah, we had a good time, and yeah, it feels like so we were in, yeah, as you say, Masquerade, which is kind of got like, am I right in saying kind of legendary status? And
Yes.
yeah, the show went really well. So it's kind of like, okay, well, we can put that down as Atlanta's another place that we'll be able to visit again, hopefully in the future.
Hell yeah. So the run overall was um it was what, just over 2 weeks?
Yeah, so we were, yeah, about 2.5 weeks. So we squeezed what probably should have been like a 5 week tour into a smaller little space of time, just what we could fit in before. And we hit some festivals in UK and Europe. So yeah, we were like, we were one side of the country to the other, coast, desert, mountains, the whole thing. It was quite a way to do it over a condensed period, you know.
Yeah. How did the run go overall? Were you pleased with it?
Oh yeah, we were really pleased because the band hadn't been in the United States for like 8 years, um, and like whilst I was on that tour 8 years ago, that was actually before my time as like a playing member of the band. I was out selling merch on that tour. So I've since received a promotion, but yeah, it was. I guess when you've left it that long before you come out to do something in a distant land, it's a faraway place. We kind of like you're not really sure what you're getting yourself into or what to expect in a way. So it was kind of like a hit and hope scenario. But we've been like overwhelmed by the enthusiasm with the new record and enthusiasm to the live show and yeah, people coming out, and so we're pleased with this run. Yeah, it's been great.
Awesome. So, and then, the new album, Megafauna, which
Mm.
I don't think is out yet, is it?
It comes out on the 9th, so it's like uh, from the date of recording, about like a week away, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, about 5 days, I think. We're on the it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, in and around that. So yeah, it comes out, but we're kind of um, yeah, I guess we had some sneaky copies of the record on the road that we were able to um should I be saying that? Is that an industry secret or something? But we had some vinyl stock with us that we were able to get to the US fans. And yeah, we do a show in like, yeah, a few days back home, like a kind of on the edge of our hometown, let's say, just outside Belfast, and it's kind of like a little intimate show to mark the release of the record.
Well, that's super cool. I bet you're looking forward to that, huh?
Yeah, it'll be cool. Like, um, the Belfast shows are always they have, they're imbued with a kind of sentimentality, and yeah, they're always a special treat for us playing at home. We're so fortunate that like we have such a supportive fan base right on our doorstep as well. So that'll be cool. And it's like it would be a bit smaller of a show than we normally do at home. So it's quite an intimate, probably quite sweaty, chaotic type of show. But I love that. I love that energy.
Yeah, so I always like that when bands who play bigger venues do the smaller shows because
Yeah.
it's it brings I feel like it brings a closer connection to anyone who is even interested in being at the show. They're like, "Oh, that's so awesome."
Yeah, totally. And I think that's like our kind of everyone in the band sort of background is that like DIY punk show sort of thing anyway. So it's like, yeah, it's an environment we're definitely quite comfortable with.
Yeah, right on. It
Yeah.
sounds like a lot of fun. I'm really bummed that I didn't make one of the shows and get one of the Megafauna vinyls. I'm like, ah, damn.
Yeah. It was a nice surprise to give people as they came in. You know, a lot of people knowing that the record was out in a few weeks' time, and then when they walked in through the door, they saw it sitting on the table, so it was nice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, nice surprise for people.
Yeah. I saw pictures of it and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, and of course, I'm a vinyl collector also. And one of the things that I really like about Pelagic is the care that they take to the different variants of vinyl that are available.
Yeah, yeah, it's been lovely to see that as well. See those across um, the run, and that kind of filters through in exactly what you're saying about the color variants, but just the care and attention that that label has and the kind of passion for it is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we're delighted to be working with them. It's a good pairing.
So what all colors do you guys have?
Um, it's funny you asked that because as of now, nothing. We sold everything we had here. But the when we arrive home, we'll have the European variant, which I'm lying right now. I can't remember which one that is. But we'll have some of the EU one when we get back from this tour.
Okay. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna go and I guess pre-order because it's just releases in a couple of days. I know Pelagic just partnered with the US label A Thousand Arms, which
Okay, yeah.
um I gotta think. So like the vinyl subscription service that they have, it saved, I don't know, saved quite a bit of money off the shipping for American subscribers, which is
Oh, cool.
yeah, super, super cool. That's
Well, we
something.
we have, I should say also that we have Velocity Records here in the US that are like working with us on the US release of this, so that our people over here can get their copies as well.
Okay, so I need to go to Velocity then because I don't want to step on any toes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not a very good salesman. I might tell I need to be on the off the mark quicker on. Okay, you can buy it here. You can buy it there.
Ah, that's all right. It's totally okay. That's why this is conversational.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how long have you been in the band at this point?
So I've actually been. It's funny I say to people, "Oh, I'm like a relatively new member," but I've been in the band for 4 years. So, but over the course of the length of this band, which is coming up now on 20 years next year, the 4 years is quite a recent um, development. But yeah, I joined just at the beginning of writing Megafauna around that time.
Okay.
So
And
that was like, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so like obviously you worked with the band before. I assume you guys, had a good relationship and they were like, "Oh, hey, Ewan's really cool and he's a great musician. We should bring him into the fold."
Yeah, well, so how that worked was kind of, um, as I say, yeah, I've been since day one. I've been like lugging amps around with the band and selling merch and driving the van or whatever it may be. So I was kind of involved in one of the layers of the onion ring, let's say, but I guess slightly on the peripheral. Um, and then I'd stood in the past playing bass at shows as well. But it was actually yeah in around COVID that it's like this kind of opportunity to like step in more permanently came. And just whenever you say in terms of like been around or been like involved, I should also mention, I'm Rory's brother, so that's the one of the guitar players in the band. So yeah, like I feel like, oh yeah, the band is family, but you say that, but it actually is as
Yeah,
well.
that's funny. And I see like I think for a band to last 20 years or coming up on 20 years is really uh it's a really challenging thing. So many bands are together for 2, 3, 4 years and they have a real hard time making it past that because I don't know that they understand the intricacies of that relationship because it's not just, hey, we're gonna get on the stage and play some music and record some music.
Yeah,
It's the good times, it's the bad times. It's a marriage, like
that's so true. I mean, it's a very intense environment, and I would say more so as well when you're touring, um, because you're literally living on top of each other. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I think bands that last that, have that kind of level of longevity all um have all developed, I suppose, like emotional maturity, and they're able to yeah, not let that kind of close proximity, turn into anything negative. So yeah, I mean, I think that we've all probably like grown up together and perfected that in a way. Probably also we don't charge just as much as we used to, so that helps.
yeah,
But yeah, you're right. It is. It's a marriage. It's a very intense thing, and uh, people who are creative artists, we're like a sensitive type of person as well. So it has the potential to be explosive, and in a lot of bands it is. But I have to say we've yeah, I've seen it over the years that we're in a very comfortable place with each other, and yeah, like a tour like this is thankfully, and I'm saying this in the lobby of the last hotel when I'm just about to go home, but hopefully it's been without any kind of upset or argument.
yeah.
There's still time. I mean, we've got a flight to Dublin in a few hours.
Yeah, we're not home yet, and
Exactly.
it's tough, because you're on the road, there's a lack of sleep and there's so many different variables that go into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you've made it this far, 2.5 weeks without an argument at this point, like that's a win, that's a real big
I,
win.
I think so, yeah. And I'm sure you interview bands all the time that are licking the wounds of arguments that they get into. I'm sure it happens. It's not a rare thing.
Right.
So yeah, yeah, touch wood. I'm happy to say nothing just yet.
And to be brothers with someone in there and to have that is, I think, another level, because I know how my siblings and I are. If we were together for 2.5 weeks, there's gonna be an argument somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, Rory and I are fortunate in that we're very close friends, and it's some people are amazed by the fact that we're going to finish this 2.5 weeks together, tomorrow, and probably in a couple of days, him and I will be going for coffee. We live minutes from each other, and both our partners are very close. So we Rory and I see each other all the time, on and off stage, on and off tour. So and that's yeah, I'm so appreciative of that kind of relationship that we have.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had that relationship with my younger brother prior to his passing, and it's like
Oh,
I I I missed that connection with him, and I try to instill that in my kids. It's like when they fight, it's like, hey, listen, I know you guys are mad at each other, but understand that is, that's your connection to this world. There's no one else that's going to fight for you in times of need or, be there for you when you need it, you know?
yeah. That's an amazing legacy then, in a way, that your brother has, is that you're passing that attitude down.
Yeah, trying to, doing my best. Uh, so sorry, like that's
No,
that's
that's
tough.
touching, man. Honestly.
Yeah, that it's tough for me because in 2019 he took his life. So it's like, ah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Back on the good
Uh,
shit. Um,
Sending love, man. That's tough. You know,
yeah,
it's
I
things like
appreciate
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people really understand that aspect of the world, right? At least I hope they don't, because it's one thing to lose someone you love. It's another thing to know that they made the choice to go, like the
Yeah.
that question is often, like, what could I have done differently to change that outcome?
Yeah. Yeah. It leaves those unanswered, those horrible unanswered questions. But
Yeah. Yeah, but we do the best we can with it, right? And that's, for me, that's where music comes in. It
yeah.
is it's always been like my saving grace. And God, early, growing up, like my first concert was Michael Jackson.
No way.
Yeah, on the Thriller tour, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
So that was like, this big, oh my gosh, like this is what I want forever, you know?
Yeah. Quite a spectacle.
Yeah, for sure. So what about you? What was your like first concert or your introduction into music that you remember flipping that switch?
Like my first ever concert, or one that like maybe changed me. I'm trying to work out. I've probably been to like a few local shows and whatnot. But my first like the first feeling of going to see a big show that like I'd taken the interest in, and it felt like a lot bigger than like a local thing, was and actually Rory, my brother, who's a bit older, he brought me and a few of my pals in school down to Dublin to see that the punk band, the Irish infused punk band Dropkick Murphys.
Oh yeah.
So um and I have to say, to my shame, I don't listen to them. Well, I haven't listened to them in quite some time, but I can remember the like experience of like, yeah, that kind of like the energy of being in a room surrounded by all these people that are kind of like we're all focused on this one thing, and there was a really friendly, as often is the case in the punk scene, there was like kind of a friendliness, but a sort of like sense of danger as well.
Hmm.
Um, and we, we got into a mosh pit for the first time, or like crowd surfed, and at the end of the show, actually, there was a big like stage invasion. Everyone like climbed up and were singing and dancing on the stage. So that was quite a good one to, uh, be like little 15-year-old kids or 14-year-old kids just like leaping around. I think that would probably be, yeah. I mean, that's pretty formative stuff, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good like memory. Like Dropkick Murphys, I feel like all of their shows are very electric, right? When you're there, it's an experience. You're not just watching the band, you're watching out for, people flying or what have you,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
that's true. Yeah, it's like you're all in at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they played a show here. There was uh it was sold out, probably 700 people at the venue. And there was the story that I get was it was a Marine, but there was a Marine that started kind of going crazy, and it took like 10 security guards to grab him and get him out of the venue before he did some real damage.
Wow.
Like
Yeah,
that,
it's a very physical environment.
yeah, that is a Dropkick Murphy show if I ever heard one, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I'm assuming they're still going and probably filling stadiums across the world.
Yeah, I mean they're playing some pretty big shows now. I don't
Must relive my youth and look
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah, I know it sucks getting old. You're like, there comes a point where you're like, I want to go to the show, but I'm going to stand on the back wall because I don't want to break a hip.
Yeah, exactly. Or I don't want someone to knock the beer out of my hand that I've spent inordinate prices on.
Yeah, yeah, $20 or whatever. And you're like, it's a 6 ounce beer. Why is it so much?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good times. So, in all your years of like touring with the band, is there a band that you all like never thought you'd be able to play with that you were just like, man, this is awesome that we're on tour with them?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few moments like that where we kind of had almost like pinch ourselves. And it's coming up in 2 weeks' time. At the end of this tour, we go home, do the thing in outside Belfast and Bangor, and then we go to play like Art Tangent Festival, which is like a quite a it's like our home from home in Bristol. A lot of the music in our kind of universe, our style, if you want to call it that. They play all these bands play at this festival, and yeah, the three headliners of that festival are Mogwai, Explosions in the Sky, and Meshuggah, who all kind of like they all they all inhabit three different worlds of a kind of similar world. But to think that like we're closing out the Wednesday night of that festival, and then it's like those three bands are closing out the three following nights, and that's quite that's definitely a pinch yourself moment to be in any way involved in something like that where our names on a poster with those people.
Yeah.
Um,
And not just on a poster, in a headlining slot with those people.
yeah, I mean that is just absolute madness when we're just uh, four little Egypts from the north coast of Ireland. um, so yeah, it's that's gonna be crazy, and actually, Art Tangent's not a bad place to kind of like. There've been other moments with bands in previous years that have been playing that have been, that's been amazing to be part of that. But then, yeah, like I'm trying to think of other, just we've been on tour this past few weeks with the band Caspian,
Yeah.
and I can't let this conversation go on without mentioning them, and they were a big inspiration for us, big like we were huge fans musically of that band before this tour, and then to come away from the tour when you're like, okay, they've confirmed it, they absolutely rip live, they're amazing. That's one tick. But then also to like have that kind of like interpersonal relationship and find out that they're actually like, really really solid people and just like the sweetest. We've made lifelong friends. That is just such a like that's kind of a privilege for us for sure
And
because and again I'm sure you would notice this with the podcast is that like bands don't always like click with other bands on
right.
tour, and there can be weird like energies, or there can be competitiveness, or there can be it can be kind of stale and talk shop and all industry all the time, and like whereas this just felt like we've been on a bus with just our almost like our pals from home in a way, or people that we've known all our lives. It's a really good pairing. And even last night when we were like saying our goodbyes, we are just like, right, how can we make this tour happen in Europe, let's say, or another version of it in North America or something. So we're scheming already.
Hell yeah. Well, that's good. I want you guys to come back to North America because next time, if I have to fly somewhere, I'm not missing it. Like I'm not missing it at
Ah,
all.
yeah, because we're about to like, where are you based?
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. So
Okay,
I don't know, we're maybe 4 or 5 hours from Atlanta.
okay, and then there's like, excuse my geography, but there's cities north of you that um, aren't too far that we may play again, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. So we're becoming something, but not quite there yet. I think most tours, we're a really good centralized location. So there's like Cincinnati, Columbus, um, Indianapolis, Chicago, St. Louis, Nashville,
Yeah.
and all those cities are right around us. And bands generally hit almost every time. one of those cities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's occasional touring bands coming through the city itself.
Yeah, like I say occasional. We actually get quite a few, but like I feel like some of the bigger shows skip us. There's like our show levels are, we've got really small show levels like sub 100, and
Yeah.
then it jumps to like 350, and then it goes from there
Okay, sure.
up to like 7 to 900, and then we're at I think it goes from there to like 2000, and then from 2000 to probably like 20,000 or something.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So,
hopefully we'll be in the 20,000 bracket this time next year, but I'm not sure it's going to work just like that.
I'm here for it. I hope it does. I
Yeah.
really hope that like you guys, like I hope Megafauna sells, millions of copies over the next year, and you're just like, holy shit, where did that come from?
You're very kind. I mean, the fact that we've sold any so far is feels like a privilege to us. So
Well, absolutely, because it's not even released yet.
yeah, true. Yeah. Good point.
um, I feel like, so in the 20 years of touring, obviously we just talked about bands uh that you've toured with or played with that you were like, oh, I never thought, right? We'd be able
Hmm.
to play with them. In all those years for you, is there a really funny story that sticks out as like, man, this was so hilarious on this tour. We did this, or this happened to someone.
Oh, you've got me there. Funny. I mean, we are kind of like for a band that deals in quite at times serious sounding music. We do have a good laugh, but I'm trying to think of something funny that happened. Well, actually, I'll tell you something funny that happened on this tour, which was quite embarrassing. So I was kind of keeping an eye on the messages that we were getting on our Instagram. You know, people tagging us and putting up videos, and I was liking things and responding to people and saying thank you. And I noticed this video come up a few nights ago, and I was like, oh, that was really cool. It looked like it's really well shot. And then I could scroll back to see, you know, the messages that I'd had with said, or that the band had had with said person, you know, previous to this. I looked back and I saw, oh, this guy Calvin, he's called. He's been at a few shows. He's put up a few videos. I was like, that's really nice. He must be like traveling around, going to shows. So I like typed out a message that was a bit like, you know, went into it. You know, thank you so much. It means so much, and like especially given you know you've come to multiple shows, we really appreciate that you've like made the trip to travel around. And then it was only like a few days later that I was looking through and kind of connected the dots that one of the guys in Caspian is called Cal, and his full name's Calvin. So this catchphrase on tour, people kept saying to me, "Ewan, thanks for coming to multiple shows, man. Thanks for coming to multiple shows." And I just, yeah, I obviously made a bit of a fool of myself there.
You know what? At least you're being appreciative of it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, we made some fun from it.
that's funny.
Uh,
So for anyone out there listening, obviously someone does like actually pay attention to their social media. It's not some random person running it.
yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how all other bands do it, and I'm sure they're probably just people farming out kind of automated responses once it gets to a level that's kind of like, you know, just you know the volume is too hard to kind of handle or whatever. But no,
Mhm.
for us, we definitely try to keep a somewhat personal touch with it, and it's a nice way to be able to you know interact with the people that you're reaching. So um, and we do try it. I mean, it has been amazing on this tour the amount of stuff that we've had to look at and interact with, and it can be you know like you, especially things that have a time limit on them. You know, you maybe miss something,
Yeah.
But no, we do try to keep it a positive way, and I hope people find that from us when they're interacting with us, you know.
Well, I think that it really lends itself to like the fan connection with the band when the band or the band page either way interacts with them because they're like, oh shit, someone's really paying attention. It's not just, throwing it out into the ether and like, oh, my friends reacted. Like that's cool. It's like, oh, the band actually reacted, which is super cool.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think it's like probably like an extension of that kind of like punk rock mentality that we talked about before, where, you know, we would like I love to, run down to the merch stand after the show and get to meet people and hang out and chat to people, and like if you can create that kind of environment on your social media as well, that's like a good thing because at the end of the day, I think it's important to like know the people that are listening to your music and like sort of um yeah, in a way, kind of like get a sense of their experiences and understand how and why your music's touching them. And I've definitely tried to do that on this tour is like speak to people and absorb what's going on around the band because, as I say, for one, you get to understand who you're reaching and like what the band means to them, but also just it makes for a more interesting environment. I don't understand bands that can sit backstage all day long and stare at the four same people for weeks on end. So I've met a weird and wonderful glimpse of America on this tour. And that's exactly why I'm here.
Yeah, we are definitely weird.
I mean that as a compliment for sure.
Yeah, I mean it could go either way the way I say it. Whatever. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
no,
Well,
it
same as the Irish then in that case.
that is fair, right? Like and we all, of course, we see, being in whatever environment we are, we see the good and the bad, right? And then looking at it through, maybe tourist eyes or a traveler's eyes, it it looks very different, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's also good. Like a good thing about tour is that you're traveling a country as someone who's working essentially gives you a much more honest impression of a place than you would as a tourist. And don't get me wrong, I love the tourist trail as well, and I do like try to hit up touristy things and spend my time traveling outside of the band in within that kind of tourist environment. But meeting people on loading bays um, and and back alleys of venues, that's kind of like you're starting to get a bit more of an honest sense of a place,
Yes,
for
for sure.
better or worse.
Yeah. I just talked to a band the other night that was like, oh, we were in Charlotte and there were these two um I don't remember if they said homeless or drug addicts, but they were like fighting and it was like they were fighting like this, like they were in 1930s, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I suppose while we're on Charlotte, I mean, I can tell you that when we were there 2 nights ago, we were like outside the bus just having a beer, chatting like after the show, and there was like a club across the street, and like loads of people gathered around on the street, and like we heard like mad gunshots going off like just across from the venue, and like we all like properly like dived onto the bus. It was like honestly something from a movie.
No, that is America.
Yeah, that's what people said. Welcome to America.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That is pretty that is pretty crazy, but it's the truth, right? Like, and it doesn't matter where you are, whether they've got guns like outlawed or not, that shit happens so much,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Wow. Yeah. It was. Well, that was definitely add that to the life experiences of
Yeah.
crazy things that we've seen and done.
Didn't have that on your 2024 bingo card, did you?
I really did not.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah. I'm glad no one got hurt. no one in your
Yeah,
crew got hurt, because that would have not been good.
yeah, yeah. It was definitely a kind of bewildering thing, but here we are. We made it to the final show, and yeah,
And now it's just the long journey home.
exactly. Yeah, that's it. But we have a direct flight to Dublin, which is always nice not to be hopping about too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a single shot. Those are
Good
always
shot. Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Um, is there a band out there that maybe in the next couple of years that you guys would really like to hit the road with?
Yeah. It's um it's tough, trying to like tie down touring partners. Um, but I do a big passion for us is to always like try to work and support bands from Belfast, from our home city. And there's a really good, there's a really good scene. There's a very vibrant scene of cool stuff happening in Belfast. So like shout out to our friends in Problem Patterns, they're a punk band from Belfast. There's a band Chalk are really cool. We share a room with a band called Robo Cobra Quartet, who are like this like post funky jazz kind of thing, who are unreal. And a tour with them has been like this kind of will it won't it happen thing for years now, like just schedule wise and like making it work for everyone. So we're like down to do that, and I have seen emails going around that might be early next year that might finally happen. So yeah, that would be a band to check out, Robo Cobra Quartet.
What a name.
Yeah, yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah, that's like what a mix of like music too, like post punk jazz.
Yeah, I mean that's something I quite enjoy about Belfast is that because it's quite a small city, whilst I say it has a vibrant music scene, it's small enough that like you don't really have necessarily, oh, there's like the hardcore scene, there's the post rock scene, there's the punk scene. It doesn't really work like that. It's more just like everyone's thrown in together because there's just music scene.
Yeah.
And I think that makes for, at least for me, as an audience member, I think that's the most interesting type of evening. If everybody, sounds different and it's not just some kind of prescribed uniform for everyone. And, so that's definitely something exciting about Belfast, I find.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of music music scenes, I guess, or music communities are really moving towards that, right? So we do that.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot, a huge influx of that here. Whereas, before you go to a punk show and it's all punk, or you go to a metal show and it's all like thrash metal or death metal or whatever. And now you go to
Yeah.
shows and there's a mix of punk and doom and death and thrash, and to see all of it like come together, and not just come together, but the communities really come together and support everyone, is that's how everyone makes it out, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's like, I feel like that's something that you maybe see with like a younger generation. I don't know if it's something to do with the kind of social media or whatever that they consume, but it's like no one is kind of, oh, I'm just going to be like this. This is my scene. I'm just going to, it's a bit more like people can just pluck things they like about various genres, styles, whatever it may be, and I think that's just like a positive thing to be able to just be like, yeah, whatever. Like there is no definition or whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Now we've got a band here. They're I don't know if you're into this, but there's a band here. They play like doom. They're called Storm Toker. Well,
Nice.
they recently brought on like a sax player, and the guy's a multi-instrumentalist. So now it's like this crazy mix of like doom and ska. Like,
Whoa.
Yeah, like what's going on here? But it's so fun to watch. Like they are so good.
I love that. I mean, anyone pushing the musical boundaries, I'm here for it.
Yeah, me too.
That's so cool. What did you say? Doom, or sorry, what was the band's name?
Storm Toker.
Storm Toker. I gotta check them out.
Yeah, check them out. They're all super good dudes. I've been trying to catch them for a long time, and every time they play, like there's something else going on for me. And I
Yeah,
was where was I? I was at the this year one of the festival was this year called Legalize Lex, and it was just a bunch of honestly really, really good bands, and they played, and I was enthralled with their set, just like wow,
nice.
so good.
Yeah, so there's a good scene where you are then.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Gonna just mentally note all the places that I've spoken to people over this tour that we didn't visit. That they're like, you gotta come to this town, gotta come to that town. It's like, okay, well, we'll let the powers that be know and try and do it.
For sure. Yeah, I'd love to have you guys here. And if you come through, I'll put you up at my house. You ain't even got to worry about a hotel if you're here.
Hell yeah, I'll hold you to
Hey, I'm
that.
telling you, like my basement's wide open. I got, I don't know, thousands of records over here. We can like drink or whatever you want, as long as you don't mind dogs and cats.
No, perfect.
Cool. Cause Sophia will cuddle.
Hey, I love it.
Um, all right, Ewan, I know you probably got a bunch of stuff going on, trying to get to the airport and get on. So I don't want to keep you, but I greatly appreciate your time this morning. You know, I think it worked out better that it didn't work out last night. Um,
Yeah, I would have been doing it as much as the hotel lobby here is quite noisy. The sound check for So Watch from Afar is a lot noisier. So
yeah, yeah.
sorry about the timings being off on our part.
No, I think I think this worked out a lot better for everyone. So I greatly appreciate you. I really, really enjoy the band. I will be pre-ordering Megafauna here momentarily, and I really look forward to meeting you in person one day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. And yeah, as well, thank you for being candid and sharing the information about your brother and like carrying on his legacy in a beautiful way, man. Honestly, that really touched me. So
Right on. Well, I hope you guys, God, I appreciate that. I'm gonna go cry now.
sorry.
No, you're good. I hope you guys, safe travels back to Belfast and the album release show. I hope it is as crazy as ever and everyone has a great time and no one gets hurt.
Yeah, thank you. Perfect. That sounds great to me. Thanks again for having me.
Yep. Have a great day, man.
Okay, cheerio.
See ya.